Okay, hey, how is everybody doing? Thanks for checking out this video. Support for the channel is awesome. Now I am trying something a little bit different with my mic a little bit closer. I can talk a little bit calmer, mellower, even though I kind of get excited sometimes in my videos, talking about something that I'm passionate about, but definitely having a mic a little bit closer is a lot better for you guys, a lot better quality audio, and I can just kind of chill out and relax, you know? So anyway, I want to talk about, I don't really know how to say it, false calls or whatever. A lot of people talk about SHTF is here, SHTF is coming, time and time again, you know, sending F-16s to Ukraine. That's going to be it. That's the red line, you know, time to start prepping. You know, whether it's that or Helene or the fires or any sort of natural disaster, different things go on with Putin. North Korea is sending nuclear satellites up into space. Russia kind of doing the same thing. Satellite destructors in space, and the Poseidon, and the list is long. It just keeps going on and on and on. We constantly hit these points that everybody says is going to be SHTF, and it's never SHTF. Well, the fact is, any of these things can potentially be the end of life as we know it. And the bad thing is that people just really don't care. So yeah, from the prepping YouTube standpoint, got to kind of keep pushing it, because if you don't, people just forget about it, and then it slaps you like a redheaded stepchild when it happens. And nobody really wants that. Us as preppers on YouTube don't want that for people. We want people to prepare. We want people to be ready for things, and that's why a lot of these channels, including myself, talk about these things, that it could be the end. Now, what are we up against right now? November 1st. It's going to be the tariffs that go on to China. A lot of people are kind of putting this out, SHTF. You know, this is when shit's going to hit the fan, November 1st. Mark your calendars. Okay, a little sensational. A lot of people are doing it. It's a little sensational. But that could be the date. That could be the one. Having sanctions, 100% higher sanctions going on to China. China says they're going to basically cut off the U.S. if that happens. So Trump doesn't want that. The United States doesn't want that. So it probably isn't going to happen. And who's going to fold? Well, the United States is going to fold. And that's not that big of a deal, because we fabricated the issue in the first place by saying that we're going to put 100% tariff onto China. So yeah, we can back that down to 50, maybe make Xi Jinping a little bit happier to not completely cut the U.S. off of all goods. You know, and then we can still kind of walk away with a 50 or 25% higher tariff. The thing is, like with this specific situation, China's got us by the balls, and it's hard to admit that, and nobody's going to admit that, but it's the facts, it's the truth. That's why nothing has gotten done with China. All these tariffs against China have been a joke. We started with 147% or something like that on Patriots Day or whatever Trump decided to make up a name for. And we started with that, and he quickly backtracked. He quickly brought that down to the lowest. I think it was like 30%. It was the lowest tariffs out of anybody in the world was China. Started as by far the highest. Why? Because China's got us by the balls. We can do a lot of things that look good on Fox News. We can do a lot of things that look good on True Social or X. Talking the talk. Trump's a great talker. But what actually happens is the important part, and nothing's really happening with China. So yeah, he's threatening to go ahead and put 100% tariffs on China. We'll see how that goes. If everything stands, if Trump holds 100% tariff to bring it up to 150% or whatever it is. If China decides to stick their middle fingers up against the United States and cut the U.S. off of most goods, yeah, this could be SHTF. This could be the beginning of the whole downward spiral, quick downward spiral of the United States. Yes, it could be this one situation, this one day for November 1st. Is it going to be? Probably not. But there's that chance there, and that's why people talk about these things. That's why every day is the end of the world. Every given weekend is going to be it. Prepare now. You only got 36 hours left. You know, all these sensational headlines. Yes, it's sensational. Yes, it's kind of clickbait, but there's also some truth to it, which is the most important thing. It's not that prepping channels and preppers are being over sensationalized on these subjects, because they are serious. We have been through probably 30 serious things that could literally be the end of our civilization. I'm not going to say end of civilization, but end of the U.S. empire as we know it. No, civilization is going to carry on, trust me, good or bad. Just being that it seems like most of these prepping channels, most of these YouTube channels and preppers are fear-mongering and being over-sensationalized should be scary, because all of these things are real. I think everybody knows that. Any given one of these in the year 2003 would have sent everybody into a panic. But we've gotten used to it, and it's not that big of a deal right now just for B-2 bombers to go bomb some random country and screwing with Russia and poking China. Yeah, who cares? No big deal. It's just the way it is, right? Until it's not. So, yeah, I just kind of wanted to touch on this, and it doesn't really have much to do with my channel and my videos, because I don't get a lot of people that are, you know, talking shit to me, really. Pretty small scale here, but I see it. I see it across YouTube. I see it across Rumble. You always say that, you know, it's the end of the world, and it never happens. It's a popular thing. It's a popular comment to have on videos. And this happens with everybody. I mean, not, you know, over sensationalized preppers, but just geopolitical people or finance people. There's a lot going on, folks. There's a lot going on. And with that said, any given day could be the end of the United States as we know it. Like I've always said, we're just going to wake up some random Monday and the world's going to be a different place. And that's probably very, very true still to this day. And it's just my opinion. It's the way I feel about it. But yeah, don't get burned out on bad news. I know it's never anything that's good to take into your brain. It's not good for your health. It's just, you know, bad news is bad news. But all of these things are serious things. I'm not going to vouch for everybody on the internet and everybody on YouTube, but most of the stuff that I see, you know, as far as financial stuff, as far as gold goes, as far as geopolitical tensions, Venezuela, Cuba, somebody's talking about Cuba again, finally. But it's not mainstream and nobody's really talking about it. But pretty much everybody down there in that area, Colombia, Venezuela, Cuba, stuff like that, are all 100% backed by China and Russia. The cartels are backed by China. They always have been. That's why we're doing this. You know, all the fentanyl was coming out of China, going into Mexico for processing and shipped up into the U.S. So we went after Mexico. We didn't go after China. Why? Because China's got us by the balls. But we went after them, and China will continue to back them, especially what we've done over in Europe, especially with Russia. Russia has flat out said it. This is what you did in Ukraine. We're going to do the same thing in Venezuela. And now Cuba's coming into the project. And don't forget, Russia already stocked Cuba up. They got weapons. That is not a proven statement. That is my opinion. Because if it walks, talks, and quacks like a duck, it's probably a ferret, right? So yeah, there's a lot of bad news going on out there. There's a lot of things that are going on. There's a lot of possible SHTFs every single day. They're still worth paying attention to. Because if you're ready on the ones that don't happen, you might be ready for the one that happens. So yeah. Pay attention to everything that's going on. Just pay attention to it. Don't live or die by the word of a YouTuber. But pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to the economy. Pay attention to gold. Pay attention to the 2 and 10-year bond ratio. Pay attention to these things. And even though a stock market crash is not going to be the end of the world, people are going to say it. We start getting a crash. We start getting a proper pullback in the markets. You are going to see prepper channels lose their shit. I'm going to tell you this right now. It is not the end of the world. People will be affected, but it is not the end of the world. We have done this many, many times. I have lived through this many times. It's not the end of the world. Things get a little tight for a little bit and it usually corrects. But the difference is now the correction for the markets to start going back up, for a recession to end, for a depression to end is getting slim. It's getting harder and harder with the big picture, with everything that is going on. So I will say when we get this market correction, when the market starts falling, we start getting these 4%, negative 4% days like we did in COVID. It could be bad. It definitely could be bad. And I want to bring this up too, real quick. I was going to do a whole dedicated video on this, but I'm not going to do that. But we had COVID. We had a large market crash in COVID with the shutdown, nobody going to work, and it was just 4% drops every single day. Do you know this year in March, I believe, we had a very similar pullback, a very similar crash in the market, that the numbers are almost exactly the same as COVID. Just a couple months ago. Nobody's talking about it. Kind of interesting, huh? It's because everything is relative and a lot of things have changed since COVID. So yes, we had a gigantic market crash when Trump put the tariffs on the whole world. That day, the markets just plummeted. Take a look at the charts. Look at the last 5 years of the S&P and you'll see, look at 2020 and look at March this year. It's the same size crash. So when we get a crash, when we get a legit crash, it's probably going to be big because the COVID crash, we brushed it off like nothing. So we got one that's going to affect everybody. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that. I just stumbled across that the other day and started working kind of some of the numbers, and it's just within like 100 points of each other when we're talking about thousands of points of movement. Now, I don't have the numbers with me, but yeah, take a look. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close this video up. It is 4:30 in the morning. I woke up a little bit early. I got a lot of stuff to do today. I got a lot in the garage in this area to finish cleaning up and organizing and stuff like that. But it is cold. Right now it is 37 degrees and dropping. Tomorrow is going to be a frost warning for our area. Gardening is coming to a close, folks. I do not have them here. They're outside. I got some frost netting. It's a very fine mesh that's going to condense the water on top of the plants to protect the plants. So I'm going to throw some frost netting on my tomatoes and a couple other things that aren't so frost hardy and see if I can pull through. But, it's starting to get chilly. I mean, right now, hoodie, right? I think this is the second time this year that I've actually had a hoodie on. And just another quick prep tip. I buzz my hair. Winter time is coming up. We might not have the luxury of heat, so I am growing out my hair just a little bit So I'm going to be a little bit warmer when I'm outside. It's going to be a little bit more insulation, because if you shave your head or you cut your hair very short, you realize you lose a lot of heat from the top of your head. So I would like to keep that heat. Thank you very much. So I'm going to grow my hair out a little bit. Yes, we have beanies and we have this wonderful technology of fabric and textiles to keep ourselves warm, but hey, just another thing. Cutting your hair short in summertime for overheating and exhaustion and heat stroke and stuff like that is a very good idea as well, male or female, young or old. Okay, I'll leave it with that. Thank you all for checking out this video. I will talk to you guys next time. I'm not going to be able to do this right because I'm like 6 feet away, but peace.